welcome to Noob Reviews, the first and currently only spinoff of Jedi Dropouts. I'm your host, Ryan Taylor, and that's it. No James Moss here, unfortunately. Just myself. If you're listening to this, I expect you're already a listener of Jedi Dropouts. If not, how the hell did you get here? Are you lost? Do you need a map? But seriously, if you haven't already, if you haven't listened to Jedi Dropouts, our main podcast, I recommend you do go listen to that. It's way better than this one. This podcast, Noob Reviews, it's like a tongue twister. While technically separate from Jedi Dropouts, is going to be released under the Jedi Dropouts banner. It's sort of a spin-off. It's like a in this one, I'm going to be reviewing various TV shows, comics, cartoons that I have never experienced before. Completely new to me. While I am a geek, I have read many comics, I've seen the movies, I've played the games. There are lots that I haven't experienced yet, and I think everyone is a noob in some sense. If not, then that kind of sucks if you've seen it all already, you know? Today, for the very first episode, I'm going to be reviewing Paper Girls, which is a fairly new comic series from Brian K. Vaughan, who is a writer I haven't actually read much by, and I do expect I'll be coming back to Brian a few times here. He's well known for writing, let's see, Why the Last Man is a big one. Saga is a huge favorite of some people. I haven't read any Saga or Why the Last Man. I'm sure those will make episodes later on. And he's well known for writing Runaways for Marvel, which I did read, but it's been like fucking 6 or 7 years since I've read any Runaways, so I think I could come back to that and do an episode. I'm gonna throw out here, I won't be touching any content in Noob Reviews that we could possibly touch on in Jedi Dropouts. So for the most part, no Marvel or DC. Like, I mean, there are side characters like perhaps Neil Gaiman's Sandman is a big one I want to get around to, but you're not going to see any Justice League. You won't see any Avengers. You sure as shit won't see any Star Wars. James would fucking kill me if I tried to review Star Wars without him. So let's hop right into it, and what better way to introduce Paper Girls than with the official synopsis. Paper Girls follows the story of 4 12-year-old newspaper delivery girls from the fictional Cleveland suburb of Stony Stream. While out delivering newspapers in the early hours of the morning on Halloween night, the town is struck by an invasion from a mysterious force from the future. Doesn't that sound fucking great? Throw in the fact that this takes place in 1988, which is a fucking perfect setting. 1988, Halloween night. 12-year-olds. I mean, I'm in, right? This is from Image Comics. As I mentioned, Brian K. Vaughan wrote this. This was originally released in October of 2015 and illustrated by the fantastic Cliff Chang, known for his work on Wonder Woman. And I mean, usually with comics, I'm going to throw in the writer, the illustrator. I won't throw in much more, but in the case of Paper Girls, I have to mention colors by Matt Wilson, because the colors in this fucking comic pop. They're amazing. Now, one thing I want to do real quick before I get into reviewing this and giving my whole opinion, at the back end of every issue, they do sort of a mock newspaper get-up, which it ties into the story. But at the end of issue 2, there's a little survey here, and it's meant for the kids, the readers, to fill out and send back in. And I thought this would be interesting to just sort of give the setting of the whole comic. And maybe I'll bring this up on Jedi Dropouts and get James's takes on these. But first question is, what is your favorite movie of 1988? For me personally, I gotta say Akira, the Japanese anime, although it's hard not to mention the fact that Die Hard, Beetlejuice, and Child's Play all came out that year. Favorite TV show of 1988? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, no fucking question. There's no competition, there's no argument. Favorite song of 1988? For me, I'm a big hip-hop fan. I've got to say Express Yourself by NWA. Although, I mean, Public Enemy, Run DMC, Eazy-E, Eric B. and Rakim, they all released albums that year. It was a fucking great year for hip-hop. Favorite music video of 1988 is definitely Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson. Such a good video. Favorite video game of 1988? I'm not, I know this is blasphemy, I'm not a huge Mario fan, but Super Mario Bros. 3, if for no other reason than the soundtrack. Favorite toy of 1988? Again, Ninja Turtles. Those Ninja Turtles action figures were one of the greatest action figures ever made. And the last question is favorite comic of 1988. For me, has to be Alan Moore's Batman the Killing Joke, which is so fucking good. If you haven't read it, go read it. Now, let's get into it. Paper Girls really comes back to the 80s coming of age supernatural sort of story that was big in movies back in the 80s, like The Goonies, The Monster Squad, Stand By Me. Well, Stand By Me is not quite supernatural, but those type of stories that have been getting popularity in the last couple years. Like, obviously Stranger Things is the big one, but also Super 8 and the upcoming Stephen King's It adaptation. Now this has everything. I'm talking, you got your bikes, you got your CB radios, walkie-talkies, the kids are swearing and smoking cigarettes and trying to be little badasses. It's a greatest hits of 80s Spielberg. And the story starts off exactly like that, but it gets fucking weird real fast. By the end of this, I mean, and there are only 15 issues to date, so it's a very, very quick read. Two volumes currently released. I think the third volume comes out in August, although I've read it already. You can find it online if you want to. But by the end of this thing, I'm talking, you're getting giant kaiju monster battles, time travel, there's cloning. This has everything. And what I like about that is there's a lot of these confusing science tropes, a lot of lingo that's going on that they used to use in these movies to explain whatever they came up with. But the best thing is that in this story, when that lingo comes up and when the explanations come up, the 12-year-olds just do not understand it, and I think that's a fresh sort of take on that. Now, there's a lot of mystery in the story, in that you don't really know what's going on, what the explanation is for a lot of the stuff that's happening. I don't want to get too deep into the story because I don't want to give any spoilers. I mean, I gave enough in saying that there's time travel and clones, but the mystery itself is yet to be solved, because, of course, we're only 15 issues in. This thing could go, I mean, between 50, 70 issues is pretty standard for something like this, I would hope, but this could go on for 100, 200, 300, this could go on for fucking ever. It's Brian K. Vaughan, too. I mean, Saga is almost 50 issues in, and I don't think that's ending anytime soon. One second. Overall, I can't recommend this enough. I really can't. Even if you're not really a reader of comics, if you haven't read much before, this is a great starting point. just pick it up. I mean, the first volume is a real quick read. It's not expensive. I mean, it's maybe $15 Canadian. It's not much. And if you are even a fan of Stranger Things, if you're a fan of old Spielberg, of The Goonies, I mean, everybody loves The Goonies. Just pick this up. Give it a read. I cannot stress enough. I don't know if I should do rankings, a score, anything like that. It's pretty damn close to a 10 out of 10 for me. I haven't come across a comic series I loved as much as this in a very long time. And on that note, I think I'm gonna end it there, because I'm gonna keep these reviews much shorter than Jedi Dropouts, because who wants to hear me talking about a comic book or a cartoon for a fucking hour and 15 minutes or something like that? If you do want to hear that, let me know. I mean, I've got free time. But if you really want more, then go listen to Jedi Dropouts instead. Like I said, it's better. And on that note, you can check out this podcast or the Jedi Dropouts main podcast at www.jedidropouts.podbean.com. They'll all be released under the same server. You can also find it on YouTube, on iTunes, on Stitcher, and you can. I'm not gonna set up the same sort of social media for specifically this, because this will all be released under Jedi Dropouts. So you can follow the Jedi Dropouts social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think that is about it. And if you do enjoy this, you want to hear more, if there's something you'd like to hear reviewed, you can let us know at any of those social media accounts. You can send me an email personally, RyanTaylor44@outlook.com, or maybe hit me up on Twitter at Shenanigandalf, spelled, yes, like Gandalf the Grey. And on that note, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for indulging me in this. Very much appreciate it, and we very much appreciate all the support from both of us here at Jedi Dropouts. Oh my god, I almost forgot. My personal favorite part in the entirety of the 15 issues was one particular scene where a character has a near-death experience, and they go for the whole life flashes before your eyes sort of thing, but when that happens, all that flashes before her eyes is her playing the same video game over and over and over. And it's a real game, actually. It's Arkanoid from like 1986. It's almost like one of those old Breakout games. And afterwards, she just keeps saying to herself, like, oh shit, I can't believe I played that game so much. Why did I waste so much of my life playing that one game? Which is just the most relatable thing I've ever seen in a comic. I thought it was fantastic. Not sure offhand how often I'm going to be uploading these. Really depends on how quickly I can get through more content. Although I do have 2 or 3 more things lined up to review, so I might pop those out pretty quick. And until then, I'll see you next time.